We're heading down to the last portions of the notes, and I think I'm just gonna try to see if I can zip through it because like I didn't realize I was already teaching for 20 minutes. Like these videos are so long. Like, my gosh, like we're learning speech through notes. Ah, my God. So it's okay because chapter one is really like an overview, and then afterwards, then we'll get down into like the more specific stuff. Audience, as I had asked you guys in like maybe 2 lessons ago. Why is it important to know your audience? Because it plays a key role in the type of messages that you send. Here are 5 different levels of communication, and we're going to first start off with intra, not inter, intrapersonal communication. This is actually what's called in psychology self-talk. Okay? When you think to yourself in words. This could be the most free talk, meaning that you don't have to subject to yourself with like all these rules of grammar. You can just talk to yourself to like whatever you feel, whatever words that you choose. So you don't have to be that formal to yourself if you want to be that way. You could speak in the language that you are comfortable speaking, and sometimes some people think that, oh, talking to yourself is a little bit weird, but it does not have to be just talking to yourself. It can also just be thinking, okay? So the key word here is think. Or when you're planning your things, your classes, and your homework assignments, and you're telling yourself what to do first. Oh, I got to do this, this, and this first, and then this, and this second. So it does not have to be just talking. It could be self-talk, or you're really just thinking by yourself. Okay. All right. Next one up is going to be interpersonal communication. Okay, interpersonal means between people. Okay, so this is going to be one-to-one communication. So there's going to be 2 people only. So someone is going to be the sender and the other one's going to be the receiver. And this book was written in 2001. When we do interpersonal communication, now it's 2020, it could either be in person. So the book kind of fails to put this in person or online. It could be also through text messaging. So that's also a form of communication. And if you're sending it to someone else, then that's going to be interpersonal. Okay. Let's do number 3. Number 3, group communication. When you got more than 2 people, a lot of, I think for right now, for you guys as 8th graders, you guys are thinking group communication, so maybe like group projects, okay? Or sometimes when you guys are in a team, like maybe a football team or a soccer team, so that's also group communication as well. Maybe when you are just hanging out with your friends, when we're not in HB like somewhere in a park, then you have a certain way of communicating in a group so that maybe not everyone feels kind of left out. So you got more than 2 people, so pretty much 3 or more individuals. Okay, public, 4th one. So we're just getting bigger and bigger. Public communication. So this is where you get to see, I think this is where you'll see like maybe speeches. You have to give an oral report to your class. And for here, it's definitely formal, and you have to, it actually requires a little bit more organization and preparation than interpersonal and interpersonal communication. of course, all of these will be, so chapter 1 is still an overview. All of these will be talked back again in the later chapters. Last one is mass communication. When we think about mass communication, it's when one person or a group communicate with a large audience. What I mean by large audience is more than likely you're probably not going to know who this audience is. Whereas at public communication, if you're giving an oral report to the class, you kind of know at least most of your classmates, at least by name or face. Speeches, if you're giving it in a college, then at least you know that they're college students. But for mass communication, when one person or group communicates with a large audience, this is what I mean by that. Maybe such as print, radio, TV, internet. So I can think of sometimes like maybe advertising. Political campaigns can also be a form of mass communication. TV shows, TV radios, podcasts. So that is a form of mass communication. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to move on to now, the last part is going to be your careers. I have asked you guys where communication is central. And a lot of you guys had really good responses, and you guys are correct. Where it is super, super central, you super, super need it. And let's just list on some specific stuff, radio announcers, television reporters, voiceover talent. I think some of you guys watch anime, and then, you guys have like that fight between sub and dub. So I'm not going to get into that, but, voiceover talent. It's just so that, you want to, they have to be really central so that their messages are not monotonous, and then you're really trying to attract your guys' audience. Monotonous just means like it actually means one tone. In music monotonous. So it's kind of like sometimes the way I speak too, like 3x plus 4x equals 5x and 7x plus, like that. So that's monotonous, where like you're not changing the pitch of your voice like that. Okay. I liked your guys' responses on listening skills, because communication is not only speaking, and it's also listening. So listening skills are very important for the following. I mean, listening skills are important for everyone, but very important for the following types of jobs over here. So such as mental health care workers, psychiatrists, counselors, marriage therapists, and etc. But really, when it comes down to it, and a lot of you guys have written this down too, and it makes sense, all professions need these skills, period. Teachers like me, we need to be as organized as we can, just like right now. So there's actually, for those of you who are taking my speech and my math class at the same time, you get to see like, two different sides of me, because there's a way that I'm organized for speech, and there's a way that I'm organized for eighth grade advanced math / algebra 1. So if you guys know those differences, then, teachers need to be organized in such a way that we have to prepare for classes. And if we have different types of classes, we may not proceed the same way. Sure, we'll still take notes. Sure, we'll do like, similar things, but different classes will have different ways of organizing material. Doctors need to listen to patients. Trial lawyers need to be eloquent. They really just need to really find the right words and also listen to the arguments at the same time. The list can go on, and there's going to be a specific homework for this one too as well. Okay. I'm just going to take, let's just take this one out of here, because like I hate teaching for like, God, we're in a speech class and I'm teaching for 30 minutes already. Okay. Let's check this one out, and then afterwards, I'll show you guys the homework. Realize that meanings shift. We definitely need to know your audience, and so context will help. We've just talked about context today. Okay. Assess the speaker. Understand the context. And sometimes you need to anticipate misunderstandings depending on the context and the choice of words that we have, that we're going to use. I want to now go over the homework assignment for you guys. I'm going to really try next time on chapter 2 to be as precise as I can. Okay. Oh, this should be number 6. Sorry. So this should be number 6. Okay. Answer these homework questions. Please respond in complete sentences on numbers 2 to number 6. Okay, so here's the first one. Find 5 pictures online that represent the 5 different types of levels of communication. This means find one picture that represents intrapersonal communication, one picture that represents interpersonal, one picture for group communication, one for public communication, and one for mass communication. And then so you can just paste them here and label them accordingly, like what they are. So you can say like, this picture represents interpersonal communication, and then find that picture, copy and paste. That's totally fine. Let's go move on to some of the questions over here. Number 2, could a teacher have bad communication skills and still be considered a good teacher? Explain why or why not. If you say that a teacher can still be a good teacher while having bad communication skills, explain your reasoning of what skills make a good teacher. If you say that a teacher will not be good without communication skills, then what type of communication skills should a teacher have in order to be good? Okay, so that's number 2. And then number 3 is now to the student. Could a student have bad communication skills and still be considered a good student? Explain why or why not. Okay, so number 3 now will be in terms of students. Okay, so really think about these types of questions, and then I think I want to share you guys' responses next time around. Okay, number 4, in the beginning of chapter 1, it was mentioned that meanings change as experience changes. For example, in the book, a young child thought that the pool was huge when she was 6 years old, but now as an 11-year-old, the pool is considered to be medium-sized for her. So going back to you, what is one thing or experience that has changed your view now that you've gotten older? Okay, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, something was huge and now it's small. So maybe something could be tasty, or nowadays it's not tasty, or it could even be the other way around. Broccoli was terrible when I was 6 years old, but now I kind of like it. So you tell me what experience has changed for you over time. Number 5. This is where you're going to have to question one of your parents and guardians, question me in an interview. Tell one of them you are asking them a question for your speech class, which is us. Type down who you're interviewing. So I've already made the table for you guys. So mom, uncle, grandpa, older sister, etc., whoever's with you at the time. And make sure you set a good time for this small interview. Ask them what their job title is. Okay, so put this down over here. The person being interviewed, uncle, sister, mom, dad, okay. Job title, then ask them these questions. After you get their job title, then ask them what types of communication skills are important in your line of work. Okay, so you really just type out what they say fully, okay, and then you might have to ask to repeat. And then ask them too, okay, from this list, like, why are those things important? And then they will give you that reason. Those things are important because. Okay. Last one, number 6. In the notes today, I mentioned how our military community is special and that a lot of you have lived in different countries over a short amount of time. I would like to hear your story. I will repeat again. For me, I was born in the Philippines and stayed there for 6 years before moving to Hawaii. It was only 2 years ago that I moved to Korea. So now I want to go back to you guys. I would like to read from your responses how you grew up. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? Do you have a hometown? How many countries have you lived in? When did you and your family move to Korea? And last, how do you think your experiences growing up affect the way you speak to people, affect your communication? All right, you guys, I'll see you.